Hello, today I welcome you to my world of watches, and in this video I'm going to show you pretty much everything about this Didun Design Offshore homage. Let's see what it's all about. So in today's video we have yet another Didun Design watch. If you remember, I reviewed the yellow one a couple of months ago. I really liked the watch, the quality for the money was just outstanding, and so I went on AliExpress and there was a sale going on. I found this one for $24 and I just couldn't resist. It's very similar to the yellow one, the only difference is pretty much just the dial layout, so I won't go into great details about this watch as I've covered pretty much everything in my first Didun Design review. Okay, without further ado, let's take a look at this one. The measurements of this one are exactly the same as on the yellow one, 43mm in diameter not including the crown, 48.5 if included, 15mm thick, 54mm lug to lug. The band width is 28mm, tapers down to 20mm at the buckle and weighs around 150 grams. Pretty chunky watch, it takes up almost my whole wrist, but again, I think it looks good on my 7-inch wrist. If I would have gone for the all black version, it would have looked a bit smaller, but I like the contrast that the white dial has with this black band. Speaking about the band, this one is very soft, even softer than on the yellow one. One of the keepers is secured into place by the guards and the other one is loose. The band actually conforms to the wrist nicely, I have no complaints. The buckle is made out of stainless steel, the brushing on it is quite good and also you get a Didun Design logo engraved. Also, huge advantage of having the black strap on your watch is that it won't get dirty. I've said it in my previous video that, for example, the yellow strap gets dirty very fast. Same goes with white. After one trip to the town, the band needs cleaning. It's very easy to clean, but still, you'll have to take care of it, where with the black one, you won't. The case back is secured with 8 screws and you get the same writing with the logo, Didun Design just below it, Sport, and then the model number, which I do not really understand because it's exactly the same on both watches. The finishes are quite decent. The brushing on the sides is done nicely, as well as the polishing on these corners and around the bezel, although they could have done a better job because the edges on these crown guards and the sides are quite sharp. You won't notice it when wearing it, but God forbid if you happen to fall down, it could definitely hurt you. Of course, this can be easily fixed with a file and some sandpaper if you like to fiddle around with your watches. The buttons are made out of plastic and the crown is signed with the Didun Design logo. Also, there is a quite noticeable gap between the crown and the case. I'm not sure if this is intentional. I mean, it does help when you're trying to pull the crown out, but it's not really necessary and they didn't do this on the yellow one, so I'm not sure. And of course, they even put the rubber seal between the bezel and the case, which is nice. I like this touch. And now we come to the dial. As you can see, the second hand is ticking, and yet again, because of the lack of information on AliExpress, I couldn't find what movement this watch actually uses. In the official website, which you should not buy from because they charge too much for the exact same watch, they say it uses a Miyota quartz, but I'm not sure. It has the minute counter at 9 o'clock, the second counter at 6 and the subdial at 12 that turns around in 2 seconds. I guess you can use it, but I highly doubt its accuracy, and the weird thing is that after a minute passes, the subdial at 12 stops, but the others keep on working. Maybe it's malfunctioning or maybe it has a purpose. If you know it, please tell me in the comments down below. The top button of course starts the chrono, then the top one again stops it, and the bottom one resets it. You can also start with the top one and split with the bottom one. Then the bottom one continues counting, and again top one to stop it completely and the bottom one to reset it. Speaking about the dial, there are quite some things to mention. It's definitely not perfect, but then again, you can expect that for $24. I chose this dial variant because it was very versatile in my eyes. Black and white goes with a lot of outfits. I like how the black band and indices complement the white dial. The indices are not loomed and are painted well. Also, there's an internal tachymeter bezel. The subdials are painted well. The hands are somewhat aligned, and there's a date window at 3, but it's very deep and it's hard to see what day is it from a certain angle, so I don't really like that. I quite like the red accents on the hands of the subdials and also the red seconds hand. Again, goes well with the whole look. The hour and minute hands are loomed, but the loom is close to non-existent. And again, the dial is not just a printed one. All of the little squares pop out, so you get a bit of texture. And that is pretty much it for the dial part. Now let's talk about the negatives. There are actually quite some negatives that I found. First, and the one that bothers me the most, is the black paint that is splattered all over the dial. I'm not sure if my camera will be able to pick up these little drops of black paint on the dial, but it's really visible, especially when the dial is white. You can see it while the watch is on your wrist, but it's definitely visible when you look at it up close. The second thing is the date window. It's hard to see the date because of the depth of it. Not a huge negative, but still something worth mentioning. The third thing are the edges of the case, which are quite sharp and could potentially hurt you. The last issue is just a design thing that could be improved in my opinion, and that is the subdials, which could be flush to the dial. Like on the yellow one, the subdials are flush to the surface of the dial and it looks better than on this one where the subdials are placed a little deeper than the dial, but that's just my opinion. So there you go, here's my review of this Didun Design Offshore homage. All in all, it's just a great looking watch, looks great on hand, has weight to it, and overall I think it's worth every single penny that you pay for it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to put a purchase link for this watch as the one that I bought from no longer exists. Same thing happened when I reviewed the yellow Didun, so if you want this one, just keep an eye on AliExpress and it should pop up in about a month or two. So as always, if you have any sort of questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. And if you like my video, please leave a like and also consider subscribing and hitting that little bell so you'll get notified when I upload a new video. And now thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.